Are we live now?
Now
we're live.
Alrighty. Everybody, welcome to Big Bird Outdoors. It is our first podcast. If you haven't been here before, my name is Nate.
My name is Max.
And again, you're on Big Bird Outdoors. We're pretty excited for our first podcast. Definitely something we're going to try and get out. We ended up being on the computer, so the audio might not be fantastic, but we're doing it. We got it going. So we do actually have questions we're going to go over. They're all hunting questions, so if you're interested in hunting, obviously this is the podcast for you. But in the future, we're definitely going to do other stuff too. I know we both love music, we both love fishing, hunting, the outdoors in general.
All of it.
Yeah, lifestyle stuff at some point, just basically whatever you guys ask questions for. So if you have questions during the podcast, ask it in the live chat. Or if you have them after, go right down to the comments and leave them there, and we can answer them in our next podcast. So, ready to get into questions?
Let's do it.
All right. So our first question, this is all actually pretty basic, like grassroots stuff. Again, they're all about hunting to start. So our first question, how did you get into hunting?
You want to start?
No, you start. I just did the whole thing.
All right.
It's all you.
Okay, how did I get into hunting? Well, when I was young, I never really thought about hunting at all. Like, I was like, whatever. I mean, it's cool, but I wasn't going to get into it. And then one of our family friends, he's a big hunter, and he started getting my dad into it. So I'm like, at first I was like, I'll only do bird hunting, right? And I got older, and I'm like, you know what? I want to do deer hunting. So that's what I started with, and I've been deer hunting since I was like 12, so like 2 years.
Alrighty. I have a totally different story. You started late. You started way late. I grew up, my father, big time pheasant hunter. If you guys have been on my Instagram before, you've seen a lot of the pheasant hunting videos or pictures. We unfortunately couldn't really get any good video this year. But I grew up to my dad leaving the house to go pheasant hunting in the fall. Definitely knew what it was, all that. When I was 3, 4, 5, 6, watching him leave in the fall and just hunt a few times a year. Then I got to about 9 or 10. He's like, hey, come along. I'm like, all right, cool. I watched shows. I've done all that, heard about it. I'm like, all right, cool. It's hunting. Let's go do it. So how old was I? I was either 9 or 10. So in Connecticut, you can't hunt till you're 12. But you can obviously go along with someone who's causing noise over there, eating his dinner. He might make an appearance at some point.
Yeah, probably.
So back to the story. So I think I was 10 now that I think back on it. And again, you can't hunt till you're 12 in Connecticut. So I just went along for the ride and the walk around. And we went with my dad's buddy. Hi, Blue. And he has a German short hair. So I got to see a dog work the very first time I went hunting, which was awesome. I absolutely loved it. I believe we shot 3 birds. You can shoot 2 apiece. So we had a 4-bird limit. We shot 3. And that was, I was hooked right after that. I went along for the ride the next year when I was 11 a couple times. Then the very next year when I was 12, right away, got my license before the season. Again, started bird and rabbit hunting with my dad. And he doesn't hunt that much, so a lot of it's up to my time. So as soon as I turned 16, when you can hunt on your own, I was hitting the woods every chance I could, no matter what the season was. I started turkey hunting. This year I started a little bit of deer hunting. Max does more of that than me. I still haven't even shot a deer. But I picked up coyote hunting. I go pheasant hunting even more than he even did when I was younger. So, yep, that was a very long-winded.
That is good.
All right, so next question. So what did you start off hunting for? We kind of answered that, but if you want to level it out.
Like I said, I only really thought I was going to do bird hunting, and I realized nobody in my family did bird hunting at all, really, besides my grandfather, but he lives in Minnesota, so different. But so I just started deer hunting, and that's kind of what I fell into. Second year of deer hunting, that's when I shot my first deer. I was 13.
Lucky punt. Nice 8-pointer with a drop time too. That was a sweet deer. But I started off again pheasant hunting. That was what my dad did. That's what he loves. I still love it. Rabbit hunting too. We didn't really target them, but if we were out there, and one jumped by, you don't just let them walk away,
No.
but yeah, then when I started hunting on my own, the things I got into, mostly turkey hunting and then coyote and deer. So it was kind of a progression for me. It wasn't like I started with one thing and now I do that thing. I definitely started with pheasant hunting and then started on my own doing other things.
Yeah.
So this one I think is going to be different for you and I also, even though it seems like a very simple question that we're probably both going to answer yes, but for very different reasons.
Okay.
Was hunting hard for you at first?
Yes, it was. At first, I didn't really have the patience. Yeah, like, I don't know, I get kind of annoyed, but I'd still just sit there and wait it out. But I got kind of annoyed with it. Other than that, I kind of just picked up and I was like, you know what, this is actually really fun. For some reason, time feels like it's going by a lot quicker than it actually is. And it was also difficult because, when you see all those hunting shows, like they get whatever they're hunting for, like almost right away, even though, not really, but it feels like that. And so when you go out there and you don't shoot a deer for your first, 4 to 8 times or whatever, you're like, this is no fun. I don't like this at all. But, eventually you'll shoot that animal or whatever, and you'll be like, this is great. And you're hooked on it and you just want to keep going and going and going no matter what. You'll just get used to it.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the hard things about Connecticut, especially. We're not a hunting state.
Yeah.
It's not like you're Kansas, you're Missouri, you're even like Pennsylvania, even though they don't have like the very big deer like those Midwest states, but they have a lot of deer. I mean, we have a ton of deer here, but and for deer, we had lots of issues this year with other hunters. Dudes that just flood the woods. Even if you're hunting private land, there's usually other private areas where someone else is right next door hunting them and they'll push them away or shoot at them. But in terms of it being hard, for me, yes, big time, because I started out bird hunting. And it's obviously a completely different reason, like I said, because you were talking about patience, the waiting, the like not seeing things. So for me, I also started off hunting without a dog, especially because I went on my own. I don't have a hunting dog, so I just go out and kick brush like crazy. So the first year, I really didn't see much. I flushed 2 birds. One of them, the very first bird I flushed, went up at 25 yards away from me. And you've hunted with our 20 gauge side by side. It's a 2 trigger. So you pull the front trigger, it's an open spread. I believe it's modified. The second one's full. So he's out at 25 yards. I needed to pull the back trigger. I pulled the front one. Obviously didn't get that bird. And then I missed the second one that I flushed that year. And part of that's usually we say you need to shoot at a few birds before you start hitting them. Now I hit them fine. But that was definitely hard, getting used to, all right, these birds can flush anywhere from I'm basically stepping on them to 20 yards away from me, especially when you don't have a dog, because you're just plowing stuff over.
Yeah.
But then part of it's also not patience because you're working, you're just moving. But I'd say that was the hard part for me, was actually hitting shots, which is funny because most guys start hunting, they're deer hunting, they're turkey hunting, and it's like, all right, wait till he's close. I get all the time, and bang, all right, I hit him, good shot. Where with pheasant hunting, you're right in the fire. Bird goes up, you're trailing, pull. Oh, I missed. Now I'm screwed.
Right.
So, but then once you hit a few, you're like, all right, so this is how I lead him out when he's this far away. This is, all right, now I know I'm shooting full choke, because I personally like shooting full choke, again, because we don't hunt a dog really. So a lot of the times they'll flush away, or you just need that extra push out. So, because they're just popping like that. Because if you have a pointer, you get those seconds. You're like, oh, I can sit on him. Here we go. Get him up. Oh, sweet. I'm not bagging on dudes that hunt over dogs. Dogs are awesome. Watch, it's the best thing ever. But it's that thing where all of a sudden a bird's up and you got to get up. So when you're shooting that full choke, you can lead them out. But yeah, that was the right thing. And then transitioning into those other huntings, then it was like kind of like you said, the patience, because I'm used to, all right, go kick that
keep going.
That big bundle of grass there, that big laid over bush.
Yeah.
And all right, now something's gonna fly out of there. It's no, you gotta wait there and sit and at the turkey, and you're and he's coming towards you. And like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
And and then actually calling things too.
Right.
Because a lot of people, when they go, I know you had that when you first went turkey hunting. People have someone call for them.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, here's the cadence, here's the idea, and I just had my dad's buddy. I still hunt this place, 17 acres, very small area to work around. I mean, I had 3 spots that I could even sit on, and I'm sitting there figuring out how to call, like all on my own. Never had anybody show me. I'm watching like YouTube videos, which actually isn't a bad way to learn, but
No.
so I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, do I do a little cluck? Do I yell? All right, he responded. Do I wait now? And it's kind of like you're just feeling this bird out, and you have no idea, because it's one of those things where you learn with time. So
yeah.
But then I was lucky with deer hunting, because you've deer hunted before. I never really got into it, and then this year, and you're like, all right, just try this now, because you have those few years of experience.
Right.
Yeah.
That's that.
All right, so here's a good one. This one's gonna probably take a while, because it's a little more open. I mean, we've taken some time on these. What are we at? 11 minutes? Yeah, we've taken some good time out of these. All right, so why do you love hunting?
There's a lot of reasons. Well,
it feels like something that should be like, all right, this is why, but then you're like, oh, here's
like,
it extends
yeah. Well, I love hunting. I don't know. It's just something about when the first time you go out, you're immersed in like something new almost. Like it's different, and it's very enjoyable. And I think every person has that primal instinct from whenever to hunt and consume. They have that, just naturally.
Even if it isn't to take life.
Right.
I think even not a hunting aspect, but outdoors.
Right.
Like you walk out and you're like,
almost.
No, not even that. I'd say like if like you walk out on a hiking trail and you're like, damn, that's beautiful. It's pristine. It's nice out here. It's like
fun.
You can appreciate it even if you're not going after something.
Right. Yeah.
But it is different from hunting.
It is. And to hunting, there's a bunch of different aspects that are very interesting, especially if you're somebody that's into animals and the outdoors. You get to learn about the animals and watch what they do and everything. It's very interesting. Like when I first killed my deer, it was over corn, and the doe comes in, and she's just there. She's eating the corn, and then you see a buck from 150 yards out off the timberline. He's walking up, and he's, because he's trying to mate the doe with the doe, and she sees him, so she starts walking off. He gets to the corn and starts sniffing, and it was really interesting how they all work together almost, and it's just interesting to see what they do when it's that time of year for breeding. And I really enjoy watching the animals live and do everything.
You took that damn answer right out of my head. No, but in terms of animal movement, I would kind of start to touch on it with turkeys and stuff.
That's really interesting.
Turkeys are awesome.
They really are.
If you ever get a chance to go turkey hunting, do it 100%. As soon as you hear a bird gobble, it will run your blood cold. Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Your heart will go.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many times you hear it. You hear it. It's awesome. Yeah. But and then I don't want to get off the question, but it's one of those things. It's you sit there and you're straining your ear, oh, am I gonna hear him? And as soon as you hear it, you're like, why was I listening so hard? He's 250 yards away, and I know exactly where he is and exactly what he is. But awesome. In terms of why you love hunting, you kind of hit it perfectly. Yeah. I mean, love for the outdoors. I grew up loving animals, watching documentaries, watching hunting and fishing shows. So it's just it put me in my element in a new way and actually getting to take part in it, because I saw people going out hunting. My dad's friends are all hunters. My dad was a hunter. Older friends I knew were hunters. So as soon as I got that license, I'm like, hell yeah. I get to be a hunter. I'm a hunter now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I also love it because when you do get, it's not all about the harvesting of the animal, but when you do get that chance, you get a great reward from it. The meat, the feathers, the antlers, all that good stuff.
True. I think that's another important part, especially that non-hunters don't realize that. It's a way to say it. No, not trophy, but like taking an animal, it is a weird experience.
It is,
especially your first time.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Because I know the first animal you ever shot was a big animal. You shot a big game animal. You shot a deer. My first was a bird.
Yeah.
So like that's very different. Shooting a 4-pound pheasant versus a 180-pound deer.
Right.
It's very different experiences. I haven't experienced the deer yet.
You will.
Obviously,
next
I will.
Year,
I hope it's next year. But like that experience of taking something and realize I took this to replenish myself, to help myself. And now I put myself in the circle of nature. Like it's when you're like in society and like you pick up a steak at the store, it's totally different than like, oh my God, I'm part of nature in a way. Like I'm taking part in the proper circle. It's so like hard to explain.
Well, I know.
It's like
you have to experience it
exactly
really to almost know.
Well, it's like there's videos of and like people like telling stories of like 30-year-olds who go hunting for the first time and they'll shoot like a deer or an elk and they'll cry.
Yeah.
Because they're like, holy hell, this is what this is.
It's
like,
something.
Wow.
It's something within you that's like connected.
Well, I think that's kind of where you're going with the primal thing,
right?
But it's not.
It's not all of that.
Yeah. I wouldn't call it primal, but it's a connection.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like it's a very bittersweet feeling no matter how many times you do it.
Right.
And I think that's also why you get the blood run cold.
Oh,
like when that big buck walks out, you hear that
like,
turkey gobble and you know he's coming. Yeah. You hear the coyotes howling off, even though I don't eat them really, but still that same thing. The elk bugle. Oh my God, I want to experience that in real life. But we're stuck in Connecticut.
Yeah, everything's cleared out of your head once you're in that state and you see this animal coming or hear this animal. You're at least for me, my head was just
like you were saying, that time just ticks.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember this past season, I had a really big tom on that same 17-acre private spot. Real big tom. I didn't shoot him. I actually passed on another bird to shoot him, and he didn't come through. But in this same situation, so there's a big hill, and he wrapped it, and he came down below me, so behind me. So I hear him. I was calling early, and I heard him gobble a few times. Then he was quiet. Like I sat for 15, called. He was quiet, and then I hear him gobble behind me. The hell? Like, how do you get behind me like that? Like 15 minutes ago, I heard you here, and now you're 80, 90 yards behind me here. So I turned myself and I moved like 20 yards to my right so I had an open look behind me. And I mean, it was just a call fest. He'd gobble, I'd call back. He'd gobble, I'd sit and wait, hoping he'd pull. He'd gobble again, I'd respond. Then I'd call to him and he'd respond. Then I'd wait, he'd gobble, I'd respond. He must have gobbled 40 times, and every time my heart just started going again. I mean, and it felt like 5 minutes.
Right.
And it was, what time was it? Sunrise was like 6:30, so he started, I heard the first gobble like 6:45 as he started coming towards the hill. So then 50 minutes later, 7 o'clock. So this whole thing goes by, I'm like, oh, this must have been 5 minutes. Like the other one walks by, I'm like, he's 20 yards, but he was no strut. He was probably a second-year bird, I would guess. This big one was probably had to have been 3-4 years. He's huge, but the second one's running, like going. I'm like, he's out of here. He's not messing with that big bird. Big bird, get it? I didn't try to pun that, but it happens.
Yeah.
But so that smaller tom, he like runs up a log to get through some of the brushier stuff in that area, and I clucked at him to stop him, and I'm thinking, should I shoot this bird right now? And I'm like, no, there's no way. That big one's gonna follow him right up, and then he just walked around. I'm like, right as soon as you think like you have him pinned, you're like, oh, this bird's dying in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's like, nope, and that's part of what the love is. Yeah. But then going back to time, by the time it was done, it was almost 8 o'clock. It was an hour that I sat there calling back and forth with that bird till he went up past me around the hill. And it felt like 5-10 minutes maximum. And I was like, holy hell, it's 8 o'clock.
It's crazy.
But yeah, that love of hunting, like you said, like the movement, the animal things, you're like, oh, I got this pinned. I got him.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no, you're not even going to see me.
Never mind.
He's like, you're not going to see me till I'm 80 yards that way and walking straight away from you.
It's crazy what they can do because like it's totally different. Like I don't think humans can really experience it because we don't live in the woods like they do. Like it's so much different.
When you hunt for a while, you start to feel it. You know, you get that like it's so weird. But
it's interesting.
But again, even no matter how much of that feeling you get, you can never pin it down. You're never in control of that animal.
Yeah.
Like that same bird, like you said, like all of a sudden it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
I had one hunt. It was an afternoon. I think it was about 2:30, and I'm just sitting there quiet, just seeing if I can hear a cluck or something, and call back. All of a sudden, he's 60 yards in front of me, popping out behind a tree, trailing a hen. I'm like, I didn't hear him at all till he started walking through, and then he gobbled right there, and then turned. It was like, where did you come from? I didn't even call you. You just followed her right here. It was just like you can never pin it.
Animals or something.
Hunting is something.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of those activities where you got to go out and just live it. You just got to do it to really understand it and see the craziness of it. It's
really a good experience, whether if you like hunting or not. It's always good just to experience something.
Well, I bring other friends who don't have hunting licenses. I know like kids in the city who have never even been out in woodsy areas that big.
Right.
This is awesome. And I'm like, hell yeah, get your license, dude. It's friggin' awesome.
That's good for
it.
That's great. Like,
yeah. But then you get then you just take those kids and they're like, they're like, if it's like those things where like, if I didn't have a friend like this, he would have never found out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, that's crazy to think that like some people just never get that just because of where they live, their situation. You're like, damn, this is like this awesome natural thing, and people don't even get to experience it. It's crazy. Because like you said, it's something, if you get a chance, do it.
It's great.
And I was starting to say, it's one of those things you only get by living. Like fishing, like you're only going to catch those big fish if you go out and you hit it. Like you go.
This spring, or last spring, I guess, when we went trout fishing. Yeah.
Oh, we had a ridiculous season this year.
Oh my God. Like we were out all the time since it was quarantine. So, we had time and we were just going and going and going. And we both caught our personal best.
I caught a 4.5 pound rainbow. Max caught a 5.5 pound brown. And of course, neither of the days we had the camera. So it was funny because we were getting ready to go, and I'm like, for his, we didn't have the camera for my first one. No, we didn't yet. We literally got it out like the week after because we got it out because of that.
I think so, yeah.
And I literally said, we've done like 3-4 videos of this already. Let's just take a day off, fish, not worry about cameras, just go and fish.
Yeah.
And Max is like, all right, we're good. And we get to this pool and we're hitting them. I mean, we probably caught 6 or 7 out of that one pool.
Unbelievable. And good ones too, like 12 inches.
Yeah, 12, 14-inch fish, which is solid for Connecticut. And we're like, maybe we should have brought the camera. Then all of a sudden, I had a 14-inch rainbow on, which is a decent fish, and we're fighting them on little like pond river rods. 6 pound test. And I have like this 14-inch rainbow on, and Max is like, I got a big one. I'm like, what? And then
I didn't know
on the line. I'm like, he's got a big one. And I've never reeled in a 14-inch fish on 6 pound test so fast. and if you haven't ever fished a river, you don't realize how hard that is because they fight like hell, especially rainbows. They jump, they run, they hit the current, they fight like hell. And how long did you fight that fish? 3.5 minutes?
I don't know, but I was
6 pound test.
I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God.
A 5.5 pound fish on 6 pound test. That was even more exciting than mine. Because first of all, both of us were there.
Right.
And mine had a bunch of cut up fins, so we didn't really fight. But that was awesome.
Still.
But that thing, going back to the point we were making, that thing where you can't know it till you live it. Like that feeling of like breaking off a big fish.
Right.
Like that sucks, but you have to feel it if you're like a real fisherman. Hunting, you get that animal in and you miss, or he pushes off right before you get the shot. Like it's a terrible feeling, but you're not a real hunter, fisherman, anything like that until you have that.
Right.
All All right, want to go next question?
Sure.
Because this one's gonna have different answers too.
What question is this one?
The last listed one we had.
Yeah, what are we at?
So
25 minutes. That's
Damn.
actually pretty darn good.
yeah. What are your favorite strategies for deer hunting? This is gonna be totally different because I put you so out of your comfort zone the other day.
Put me totally like I haven't been
All right,
hunting like that before.
I'll answer first.
Yeah.
I love stalking because I'm a big kid and I'm just under 6'3", but Max can say this. I have very soft feet. I don't know how. I don't want to toot my own little horn, but
It's interesting.
I think athletics help with that. Just soft feet, especially for basketball.
Right.
But so I love stalking. Like if I'm turkey hunting, most guys will freak the hell out if they see you move. Like they'll be like, "Oh, you're stalking turkeys. Oh, you heard him gobble and you're walking towards him." And I'll put myself within 60 yards of that bird as long as he can't see me, and I can do it quietly. Not every time. I mean, you'll blow one up every once in a while. You hit a stick or you bump a little log or something, or just hit the wrong patch of leaves. It's very risky, but like just the other day, we're stalking. Going back to deer, we were stalking deer in crunchy snow, and Max is like. He's just like following me like you're crazy, and we almost got on him too.
We did
actually because we heard it was state land and it was packed because it was the second day before the closing day of gun season, and we're seeing like pee around trees and like converging tracks because we were tracking
trail cameras too.
We were tracking a buck track.
Yep, nice one.
And I'm like, dude, there's a big laid down tree. I'm like, you gotta sit right here and call them through. They went they're all right up that ridge with how fresh those tracks are, all the fresh pee around the converge tracks. I'm like, they are right up there. And I'm like, we'll try to call them back down and across the ridge. So I love this stalk and sit. But then we heard another hunter shoot. So I'm like, damn it. Obviously our set was blown, but I looked at Max and he's like, he never thought like, all right, go in and stalk, go find that deer yourself. Because it is very hard.
Yeah.
But during gun season, you can kind of get away with it too, because if you stumble on them, here in Connecticut, you can only slug hunt, which kind of sucks, but we don't have the land for rifle hunting. But even then, with a solid slug gun, you can shoot 60 yards. So if you stumble on a deer and you just stop him at 50, 60 yards, you can pop.
Better comment.
What we got?
Want to get into hunting? My dad said we're going to start.
Ooh, we can definitely answer that after. We will definitely answer that question after. All right, go with your deer hunting strategy. Okay. Number one, if you had to pick one.
Number one, if I had to pick. Well, see, I've really mostly hunted private land over corn or game trails. Mainly over corn. Mainly over corn, and that's actually how I shot my deer. So most of my experiences, we would set up corn and put a trail camera, and it's nice to know what you have there. Like this year, we had a coyote eating the corn for some reason.
Oh, they'll eat anything.
It's really weird,
dude. You can hit so many calls at a coyote, and they will come in. Like you can
weird.
You can hit like messed up, distressed crow calls. I pulled a fox in on a bird call. That's not a coyote, obviously, but like just like a songbird call. Like if you tweet it out, like what's it called?
I don't know.
If you chalk it up. And it sounds like whistly, and they can hear those higher tones. So even if you can't hear it, and they'll friggin' walk in.
That's wild.
Yeah,
but yeah,
off track. But
we saw. I mean, a bunch of. We didn't see any bucks this year in the trail camera, which was unfortunate. But tons of does, and so we knew what was there. We had a mom with a fawn, another mom with a fawn, and then we had 4 really skittish does. For some reason, they'd come to the corner. They're like giraffes.
Those make it rough.
Yeah,
because if they skid, you're screwed.
Oh,
or you could be screwed. I mean, it depends. But.
Yeah, but it was crazy, and it's nice because you'll sit in whatever your blind, or your tree stand, whatever you got, or even right next to a tree, and they'll walk right in. And they'll go to the corner, and you just wait for a good shot, and then.
I mean, that's not a bad way to start either.
No, but it's I
would say it's efficient. It's especially good because when you started too. So
right.
This kind of actually goes into the question we got there, but if you're starting out hunting, try to do something you want to hunt, but also. I don't want to make it like sound easy on you, because there's times where people just like go on a huge farm and just shoot the easiest deer ever, and you're like, all right, you're perfectly set. But even like something like that,
easier.
it is easier.
I'll admit,
but it definitely puts you in there. You know what I mean? It gets you started.
Yeah, you still get to experience just about everything. But like we were saying, like the stocking on state and that stuff, that is much different. That's
Like the pheasants and stuff.
Well, but like I mean, I'm talking about deer hunting. That's
when you're putting feed down. Okay, no, I got you.
That's much different than having corn on the ground.
True, very
when
true.
you're actually stalking in the woods, that's like a whole different thing.
Yeah, like we can kind of meld it into this next question. If you guys, it's right in the chat. Basically questioning like, how would you get started hunting if you want to? I wouldn't say make it easier on yourself. Max and I both did it very different ways. He had someone to show him a lot of that stuff, especially starting as a deer hunter. We have a lot of deer hunters that we both know. Whereas I did a lot of hunting alone, so I was kind of self-taught. I just want to read that question again. I want to get into hunting with my dad. Where do I start? So if you're hunting with someone, especially someone who's been hunting, that's actually a huge, like I said, I was pretty damn self-taught. Max had other hunters around him. I'm not trying to like knock him down and make it sound like he had the easy route. No, if you get into hunting, there really is no easy route. But a good way to do it is to put yourself around other hunters, even if they're not going out with you, but you're just talking with them. Like I wasn't out with other people, like I was doing it on my own, but I am an information magnet.
Yeah, I have a ton of experience from your father, your grandfather.
I just learned. I'm a brain maniac when it comes to that stuff. So like if it's hunting information, I'm watching a video on it, I'm reading an article on it. It's just, so I learned a lot of it from that. But I would definitely say if you have someone to go with or to hear from, that is huge.
Yeah, and if you're talking about like getting supplies or something, well, actually,
that's a big part.
First step is property. If you want to hunt state or private, if you can hunt private, you just have to.
Very good point. I didn't even think of that. That's such a good point.
Thank you. You just have to ask people about, can I hunt here? If that's cool, and then if they say yeah, sure, you have to make sure if they're okay with bow hunting or gun hunting or whatever.
Connecticut is tough too, because like I said, we have a lot of restrictions. So like we hunt, or I've hunted, Max hasn't gone coyote hunting yet, but state land, and you can only shoot up to number 2 bird shot. So like that, if you're shotgun hunting and then you can't center fire or rifle hunt, you can only shoot a 22 on state land. So we have to shotgun on them. So you have to get like number 2 tungsten, like that's very specific, or number 4 tungsten even. I've seen coyote loads with number 4 tungsten that kill them perfect.
Yeah.
I shoot number 2, but it's very specific. So something to be careful about when you're getting into it is making sure you're within the rules. Definitely read up on them. Again, if you have someone to go with, that definitely helps you out.
Yeah.
That keeps you in the know-how. I don't know. And I'd say find the thing. Like Max and I both started with one specific type of hunting. You don't have to do that. You can start turkey and deer hunting, especially because they're different seasons. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But definitely, I don't want to like say restrict yourself, but try to find a type of hunting that you fit into. So if you have people around you that, like in my case, pheasant hunting. All right, now you're gonna see pheasant hunting. You're gonna go out pheasant hunting.
Chickens are geeking.
Chickens are going crazy. All good.
Yeah.
All right, but a little chicken disruption.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? Oh, so like say you go pheasant hunting. Like I know a lot of people in the Dakotas and that area. It's pheasant hunting like crazy, deer and pheasant.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to say like pick a lane and stick to it, but if you can find one type of hunting to nail down, be successful at, and then move to the next. Yeah. Or at least get the groove down. So like even if you get into deer hunting, you know, all right, I can get deer in here. Like I can, even if I don't shoot one this year, I know they're here, I know where they're moving, I know where they are for like, if it's bow season, I know where they are for gun season, that's fine. Then you can start to move on to something else. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in one, which isn't a bad thing when you're starting. But if you want to move into other things, getting stuck on one can hurt. I mean, that's my opinion because I do hunt a lot of different things and I hunt year round.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. That's why I'm happy I have you as an outlet to expose me to different hunting.
Yeah.
But also, I do want to say, if you haven't gotten your hunting courses, so like whether taking a gun course or a bow course, you do have to have those to even be able to hunt in general.
And pick the right time to do them.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
if you are deer hunting and you want to bow hunt, get your bow done in the spring or the summer. Is that another question?
What is your favorite thing to hunt?
Oh, we actually went over that earlier. We can go back to it after that. But yeah, what if you're gonna hunt a certain way or hunt a certain thing, and you haven't done your courses yet, get them done in the right time.
Yeah.
It's like I was pheasant hunting from the jump. I still don't even shoot bow. I don't even have a bow license. Max yells at me about that all the time. But so like mine, I did early summer, so that way I got it done. I had time to shoot a little bit in the summer before the fall, so I could bird hunt. You know,
and you could learn a bunch of information.
Yeah, you actually do learn from them.
Yeah, and you need. I mean, of course, you need to learn what that animal acts like and how it works. So, like, if let's say you end up hunting. Suggestion: if you do want to hunt private. I would say get the bow license. Just you can use a crossbow.
Just so you have it.
Yeah, well, that and most people around here do not allow guns. Like my dad and I have found one property that allows guns. That's
and they only let you slug gun, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it depends where you are. Again, like we've been saying, Connecticut's very restrictive and
very
all of that. So it makes it tough for us. But if you're somewhere where you can just go out and pretty much do whatever you want, I mean, props to you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But going back to favorite things to hunt, we've kind of touched on them a little. We definitely said it earlier on one of our I think it was our second question, or third, but it was very early on. But for me personally, favorite, if I had to pick one, turkeys.
Yeah, I figured turkey.
It's the one I keep going back to too, so I almost have to say. But I started pheasant hunting. That's definitely my second favorite. I love pheasant hunting. I love the flush and shoot. All of a sudden it's on. But turkeys, I mean, you hear one gobble in your lifetime and you'll remember that. But it's definitely one of those things where if something happens in a hunt, you remember that hunt.
Oh yeah. I think I'd have to say, deer for first and then turkey for second. I really enjoy turkey hunting. But another thing is,
I think it's a lot of people, it's what you start.
Yeah.
Like for me, I started pheasant hunting, but I taught myself turkey hunting and I put the real time into turkey, like the knowledgeable time. Because pheasant hunting, I mean, there's only so much you can learn except how to shoot them and like little nicks and stuff to like look like, all right, here's this little pocket that they might have pushed into. Let me hit them out. But that's really all you can learn. Whereas something like turkey hunting, deer hunting, coyote hunting, if you're out west or something, there's obviously other stuff. Bear hunting, elk hunting, moose hunting, caribou, wolves, mountain lion, like all those things. Those are all things you learn, you know?
Right.
Like those flush and shoot, obviously you become a better shot because of it, but something that you can go out and learn, I feel, is usually what ends up as your favorite.
Right. I think for me, I purposely, I don't even know what I'm saying, but something that I really want to hunt, like which would probably become my favorite animal to hunt. I think that would be elk hunting. I love elk. I absolutely. So yeah, I know the call, the antlers, like just everything about them is. I love it. I just love it.
We know people who have shot them. We've seen like racks and. I want to elk hunt so bad.
The hunting style too. I like that. I love spot and stock because where they're like way out. You're on this ridge. And you gotta go, and they're on this other ridge. You see them, and you gotta go through.
Or you hear them,
yeah,
even like 800 yards off, and you hit the bugle, and he's chirping at you, and you gotta drop in and pull him down.
That's just, I love that dream hunt right there.
Sure. I'm trying to think of how to expand on that first question, because that first question, like, how do I start? Like I said, it's one of those things where you gotta pick a lane or two, and you gotta learn about it.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, I want a deer hunt and then I'm gonna find deer. I'm gonna go
Because-
out and get it. You
yeah,
gotta.
there's things to it because if you go, I want a deer hunt. Okay, what do you want to hunt with? Bow, shotgun, rifle, crossbow, whatever, and then
learn what you're. You gotta learn what you're shooting. Then you gotta learn the animal. You gotta learn how they move.
and the property.
You
gotta get
your properties,
everything, and where to buy the weapon and everything. I mean, Cabela's is good.
And one thing I would say, like I said, I pretty much self-taught myself turkey hunting. Is work on one or two factors at a time. So like with turkey hunting, again, there's a lot of factors. Work on calling immediately. Because like deer hunting, deer, you have to work on knowing the animal, knowing the movement. Because you don't have to call them in. You can put yourself in a real good spot because you know the movement.
Walk. Right
I know where this deer is coming to. You can put yourself there. But something with turkey, it's somewhat the same. Like, all right, he goes here to strut, then here to chill out during the midday, and then here to feed, or here to or he struts here and here later in the day because he struts a little longer than usual turkey. But in terms of like turkey, like the first factor I would nail down is calling, and then I would knock down movement, and then knock down time of the day. So then you have your basics laid out.
Learn your animal.
And then you learn your extra calls. So your little clucks, if you're in the fall, like your little chop gobbles, like when they're on a feed, or if you get a really mad bird, do not recommend this if you're a beginner, of course, but do that little Jake gobble, piss him off. He's going to come in all puffed up, especially if you've got a Jake decoy in a hen. That little choppy Jake gobble, and you can do it with your mouth. I mean, that's a full gobble. You just, chop it a little bit. That was terrible. Chop it, and because they do a very
that was pretty good, actually.
Jake's and Tom, they do that drawn out yelp. It's weird. But because usually you do it with a mouth call, but like a hen is
right.
It's a little short, quick, snappy, whereas a Jake or Tom, so you can, even if you just do it with your mouth and like learn, I don't know exactly what you want to hunt. That's the hard thing. Because like deer, like I said, something where you learn the movement, you learn the animal, then you learn the calling, then you dial in on weather patterns, you dial in on
it's a lot of different things.
Yeah, then you dial.
I mean, you don't have to learn the weather patterns, but they do.
Actually, before weather, I dial in on kind of like turkeys, the times of the day.
Yeah,
because deer are weird.
They are.
They're nocturnal. Then they feed. Then they bed. Then they strut. Then they feed again. Then they bed. Then they come out in the middle of it. Like they're a very
do whatever.
And usually that's like your typical feed, bed, strut, feed, bed, nighttime, and then repeat. But each deer is going to be different, especially with bucks because they're independent. So each deer is going to be different,
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely depends on what you're trying to hunt. Like I said, pick something, get the basic factors down, then just add to it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have somebody to hunt with, so that's huge because they can help you nail down those factors.
Very good.
For sure.
Yeah. Such a deal.
I know. But yeah. I don't know. You have anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think we touched all the questions at least. Anybody else have any more questions?
Hey, Brian, you got questions? Shoot them off.
Yeah.
Next for us is coyote hunting.
That's gonna be.
And you've
fun.
never done that.
Never done it, but I've watched videos of it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
We'll hopefully get videos of that. I mean,
we will.
We'll get ice fishing videos even before that, hopefully, because we probably won't start coyote hunting till their breeding season is mid-February to like late March, so that's our prime time. So in January we'll do ice fishing videos for sure, so long as we get ice. But we have some spots up north of us that we'll probably get ice, so that's good.
Just shoot us questions in general on our social medias or something, because we're definitely looking forward to do more of these if that is what you're into.
For sure.
Yeah. I don't mind them.
All right. You want to touch back on any of the questions real quick, or want to look at them again?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like why do you love going out hunting? That's a
good one.
very
big,
because
Like,
yeah.
touch a lot.
Another thing for me, I love guns. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Guns are freaking awesome.
They are.
I mean,
they're cool.
Obviously, you're using them as a tool. They're not used for fun, but it's part of the game, and it's kind of freaking fun.
Shooting them is like you get that.
It sounds sadistic, but
it sounds bad, but it's very like when.
Again, it's one of those things where until you feel it, you never feel it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of.
It's brand new.
Sounds very sadistic. I like shooting them to shoot them. I like shooting the guns.
Well, if you do like to shoot them, you'd go to shoot them, right?
Well, then it's like, I mean, you don't really do this with other things. I mean, you kind of do with like calibers and stuff like that. I was gonna say like pheasant hunting, shooting different number shot, shooting.
Yeah, I got
different shotguns, side by side, over under, pump, semi.
I got nothing.
Different gauges, like stuff like that. You know.
I got nothing on. I really don't know much about calibers except for like a shotgun. Like,
but there are dudes that have like, I mean, you find it in every single type of hunting, the caliber argument. You know, like, should I shoot a deer with a 270, a 30-06? Oh no, 243's wimpy. No, it'll put them down. It's perfect. Like, I mean, there's dudes that like moose hunters. Obviously, we do not hunt moose here, but
that'd be awesome.
Moose hunters are like, do I shoot them with a 300, a 308,
You can put it down with the 30-06 even.
Yeah. There's dudes that shoot. Yeah, but like that's an argument to be had. Definitely, we'll definitely do podcasts where we bring guns out and talk guns and everything.
Oh yeah,
I gotta give you that whole spiel. Yeah, I think that's another cool part of it. Just the whole. It's just another. It's kind of like we said with like learning how to hunt. It's kind of factors like It's deeper than that because obviously it's a love for something, but it's like factors of like, here's one, or reasons is actually a better way to put it. Like, here's a reason why, and here's a reason why, and let me expand on this reason.
You know what? I just thought about this. You know what I suggest? Before you like get all these things to go hunting, if you can, if possible, try and experience it with somebody to see if you really like it.
How did we not say that before?
I don't know, but try and experience it. Right.
That's such a good point.
Try and experience it before you spend all this time, energy, and money into 100%. Something.
100%.
Because you may not like it at all, but you may love it, and then you'll get right into it.
Well, I think it's also important, even though it's not always possible, especially if you're with really good hunters, go on a hunt where you don't get anything.
Yeah, that's always good. Go on a few hunts, maybe.
Like if you go out and you sit like 5 hours in a stand and you like see one small doe, that's a great way to find out if you like it or not.
Yeah, I mean,
like me, like sorry I cut you off again, but the first season I went turkey hunting, I heard one gobble all season, and I heard him once. And I was like, dude, this thing is freaking awesome. I love this. I'm like, I haven't seen shit, but I love it, you know? And then the next season, I'm hearing gobbles. I'm getting birds close. I'm doing all that. I put it together more. And then you build it. You're like, oh my God, I learned. I'm doing this. Is awesome. This is even more awesome now. Like, I'm not just in the woods. I'm doing things in the woods.
Right.
So definitely, like you said, get out with someone. But even though it sounds like counterproductive, go on a hunt where you don't get anything. Yeah. Obviously, you're not going to go out and just be like, I'm not shooting at it. Like, don't tell your friend, like, don't shoot anything today. I want to see what it's like. But, like, if you can, like I said, it's not like a given that it's going to happen. But if you can be in a position where you're like, oh, I've been sitting here 6 hours. This kind of sucks. I mean, it sucks. If you're on a long sit and nothing's happening, or you've hit 3 or 4 spots and nothing's happening, it sucks. But if you can take yourself to then go like, oh my God, it was terrible last time, I want to go again. That's when you know you truly like it.
That's good. And like me, my first year hunting, I went 3 times, which I should have won more, but that's whatever. That's just how it panned out. Yeah, pretty much 3 times for almost all day, and there was nothing
going on the camera.
3 times pretty much all day, and then my second year. The first day I was out that year, 4th hunt, I got very lucky. I shot a deer. Most people don't. My dad, he's been hunting for, almost 5-6 years now. He hasn't shot a single deer.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't shot anything.
I mean, but Yeah, like you said, my first season pheasant hunting, I didn't shoot anything.
Yeah.
I didn't shoot a single thing. I didn't even put a single pellet on a bird. I didn't even wound one.
Right.
But and I had birds. I flushed a few my first year all on my own, and then like fast forward to this year, I shot one on the ferry on opening day within the first half hour. So, I mean, with that, it's a little more luck because obviously my nose isn't as good as Boog's here. But yeah, I mean, part of that's luck, but I kept going. I mean, I hunted that whole season. I flushed 2-3 birds, missed them all. Didn't shoot anything. Probably went 15 times. Hated it. I mean, and then just compare it to this year, 2 years later, you can shoot 10 birds a season. I think I shot 8. So I was close to limiting out my season this year. So, I mean, yeah, if I stopped then, I just said, that was nice and quiet. If I stopped then and went, I hate hunting, I'm not getting anything. If I just stopped that season, I wouldn't have shot almost my limit this year. I wouldn't have put myself into turkey hunting, deer hunting, coyote hunting, like all that. I would have just stopped. So it's definitely putting yourself out there and not expecting the worst, but seeing if you can put yourself through it and keep going.
Yeah, if you like it.
Get injured, done that. I did that my first season pheasant hunting.
I've yet to do that, thankfully.
Don't do it. Yeah, I messed up my knee. That was fun. And I just a couple weeks later, I was good and won again.
Let's go again.
Yeah, but yeah. In terms of going back to that starting question, hunting, go with someone, learn from someone, learn early, learn ahead of time, so you're not just throwing yourself out there. But then you also do have to learn through experience.
Of course.
It's life. I mean,
Part of it.
yeah. I mean, you learn everything through experience. It's the same as anything.
Yeah.
You can learn only so much you can watch a million drumming videos, and you're never going to learn unless you put drumsticks in your hand and whack the drum. You know?
Right.
I'm a guitar player. I've been playing 3 years. I didn't learn by going, Jimi Hendrix is good. I'm going to do that now, you know.
Practice.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
So yeah, I think that just about wraps it up.
That does wrap it up.
Alrighty, folks.
That was pretty good.
Thank you to everybody who watched it live. It's obviously going to go up on my channel permanently after this. If you liked it, obviously subscribe, comment, new questions for next time, give it a like. You can check out our Instagrams. I'll tag them down below. Follow us there for updates. Well, most of the updates for this kind of stuff is going to come through my personal Instagram. Max probably will too, though. But yeah, check all that stuff out. Subscribe and sit tight for the next podcast and our next videos. Like I said, next videos are going to be ice fishing. So if that's your deal, then you're definitely going to want to check it out because we got spots dialed. I mean, as long as we get ice here in Connecticut, it's going to be a good season. I can just feel it in my bones. But yep, so definitely check out the channel, subscribe, comment questions down below, and we'll catch you on the next video and in this format in the next podcast. All right. See you guys. Thanks for watching.
Adios.
Adios. Yes, I want to end.